Hello and very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Opposition raises issue of agrarian crisis in the Rajya Sabha. Members highlight distressed sales of crops in the face of cheaper zero-duty imports and farmer suicides. Tamil Nadu members in Rajya Sabha demand complete exemption of the state students from the combined medical entrance test NEET. Government says President needs to decide on the issue. Supreme Court takes up hearing to decide the question of privacy. 9-member Constitution bench says right to privacy is not absolute and can't be catalogued as it includes everything. And T.R. Ziliang appointed new Chief Minister of Nagaland after Shirozili Lezitsu and his supporters failed to face the floor test, asked to prove majority in the House on or before July 22nd. Well, opposition members in the Rajya Sabha voiced concern over agrarian crisis and a spate of farmer suicides in the country. They claimed that farmers were compelled to resort to distress sales. The chair also admitted the seriousness of the matter. Here are the details.
Opposition members expressed grave concern over agriculture crisis and farmers' issue in the upper house on Wednesday. Raising the issues during zero hour, JDU MP Sharad Yadav said the condition of the farmers in the country was deteriorating. He said pulses production has been raised by 33%, but the government has lowered the import duty to zero, resulting in cheaper shipments into the country.
425 रुपए अरहर पर, उड़द पर, ये तीनों दालों के दाम बढ़ाए आपने, डिस्ट्रेस सेल हो रहा, जीरो इंपोर्ट में आपने गेहूं को 10% बढ़ाया। मैं उस पर नहीं कहना चाहता, लेकिन किसानों ने मेहनत करके, ये शरद पवार जी बैठे हैं, हाँ पूरी मेहनत करके सदन में पूरी सरकारों ने, यूपीए सरकार ने 33% दाल के किसान जो हैं उनको उत्पादन बढ़ाया। शॉर्ट ड्यूरेशन डिस्कशन हो जाएगा। इतनी मेहनत करके जान सटा करके किसानों ने उत्पादन किया, उसकी कीमत नहीं मिल रही है।
Also speaking on the issue, Congress's Digvijay Singh alleged that farmers were getting bullets instead of fair price, while Ali Anwar Ansari of the JDU argued that the NPAs of corporate companies run in several lakh crores, but small farmers commit suicide under financial distress over just thousands of rupees.
150 से ज्यादा किसान संगठन आज जंतर मंतर पर बैठे हुए कल से पूरे देश के, और जैसा कि शरद यादव जी ने कहा है,
इसलिए हम डिस्कशन करना है।
समस्या पूरा देशव्यापी है, लेकिन सरकार मौन है।
8 लाख करोड़ रुपया एनपीए का है कारपोरेट घरानों के पास, बड़े सरमाएदार पूंजी पर वो सुसाइड करता है, सुसाइड कर रहा है।
Let me come back to 267. Let me come.
सर उसके लिए
267.
ये बहुत गंभीर मामला है सर।
Let me come back to 267.
बच्चे आए थे, उनकी विधवाएं आई थी, वो रही हैं, रो रही हैं।
Let me come back to 267.
As several members tendered notices under Rule 267 to allow adjournment of the proceedings to take up a discussion on the agrarian crisis, Deputy Chair P.J. Kurian assured the House that a discussion on the matter has been accepted and the members can raise the concern during the debate.
I'm not disputing it. I will examine it. Okay.
Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
While cutting across party lines, Tamil Nadu members in the Rajya Sabha demanded complete exemption of the state students from the combined medical entrance test NEET. The government clarified that it has given its views on the legislation passed by the Tamil Nadu Assembly for exempting the state, and it was now up to the President to take a view on it.
Members from across the political spectrum from Tamil Nadu joined ranks in the upper house to demand permanent exemption from the national eligibility cum entrance test. Raising the issue during zero hour, AIADMK member A.K. Selvaraj said NEET was based on the CBSE syllabus and 90% of Tamil Nadu students were from the state board.
The NEET was against the interest of Tamil Nadu students aspiring for MBBS admission, and that the test was based on Central Board of Secondary Education. But 98% of Tamil Nadu students had studied on state syllabus. The question was asked out of the syllabus in public examinations, the students from Tamil Nadu may not be able to answer them properly.
DMK's Kanimori contended that the infrastructure in medical colleges was developed by the state and the state's students had the legitimate right over seats. CPI's D. Rajya, CPM's T.K. Rangarajan and Congress's Anand Sharma reiterated the exemption demand.
The Tamil Nadu government and all the political parties in Tamil Nadu want a permanent exemption from this NEET. We do not want NEET examinations for our students, and there was a standing committee recommendation also which said states which did not want to be part of the NEET examinations have to be exempted.
I urge upon the union government to give exemption to Tamil Nadu.
The government must make it clear rather than passing it on to the president.
No, they did not pass
the president of India in a dock.
It is only members, sir.
The HRD minister should clarify it is not the president. What is the government's view on that?
The government clarified that deliberations were held with all stakeholders.
We have discussed with everybody concerned. The matter is at advanced stage and is sub judice. We and the health ministry are also in touch, and so we have taken note of everybody's plea.
Last year we gave an exemption. This year,
no, again, don't interrupt like that.
This year the NEET examination took place. In between, the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly has come out with a bill which has come to the President of India. We have given our viewpoint on this and the reasons which they have given. We have also replied in that context also. It is with the Honorable President to decide accordingly, and through Home Ministry we are initiating it.
Dissatisfied by the government's response, AIADMK and DMK members trooped into the well of the House, claiming that thousands of poor and rural students would be affected by NEET-based admissions. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, days after the government asked the opposition to show restraint when talking about the border dispute with China, Mulayam Singh Yadav said in Parliament that Beijing is ready to attack India in collaboration with its longtime ally Pakistan.
कि चीन षड्यंत्र कर रहा है हिंदुस्तान के खिलाफ और पाकिस्तान को भी अपने कब्जे में ले रहा है। अब पाकिस्तान को भी अपने साथ ले लिया। अब ये खबर है या नहीं है, हमें खबर दी गई। सच्चाई खबर सरकार को होगी, प्रधानमंत्री जी को हो सकती है, होम मिनिस्टर को भी हो सकती है।
Mulayam Singh Yadav also claimed in Lok Sabha that China has buried nuclear weapons in Pakistan to target India. However, he said these were reports that he had heard and the government and Indian intelligence agencies would know better. He had shared a similar assessment on Friday when the government explained the details of the border dispute to opposition leaders. At the time, Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj said Defence Minister Arun Jaitley would look into his concerns. Well, a 9-judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court started hearing arguments to determine if the right to privacy is a fundamental right under the Constitution. The court observed that right to privacy is not absolute. The court also asked the advocate representing the petitioners on what privacy entails. Justice J. Chandrachud said every right to make a decision may not be a part of the right to privacy.
Arguing for the petitioner, senior advocate Gopal Subramaniam initiated the hearing, stating that the right to life and liberty are pre-existing natural rights. Pointing out that liberty is the fundamental value of our Constitution, he said that life and liberty are natural existing rights in our Constitution. The senior advocate then asked if liberty can be experienced without privacy, and can liberty be exercised without privacy at least with regard to all the fundamental rights of the Constitution. Subramaniam pointed out that some preambular values are meant to be read with fundamental rights. Further, the preamble contains expressions from the American Constitution and continental countries. The 9-member bench is dealing with the limited issue of the right to privacy, while matters challenging the Aadhaar scheme itself will be referred back to a smaller bench. The bench, headed by Chief Justice J.S. Kheher, has Justices J. Chelameshwar, S.A. Bobde, R.K. Agarwal, Rohinton Fali Nariman, Abhay Manohar Sapre, D.Y. Chandrachud, Sanjay Kishan Kaul and S. Abdul Nazir. The Apex Court had set up the Constitution bench on Tuesday after a 5-judge bench referred the matter to a larger bench. The 5-judge Constitution bench headed by the CJI was confronted with 2 past verdicts delivered by larger benches in 1950 and 1962, which held that the right to privacy was not a fundamental right. The apex court said the 9-judge bench will deal with the limited issue of right to privacy and the correctness of the 2 judgments. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, moving on. Now, T.R. Ziliang has been appointed as the new Chief Minister of Nagaland by the Governor P.B. Acharya. This comes months after he resigned from the Chief Minister's post. The Governor has asked Ziliang to prove his majority on the floor of the House on or before July 22nd. Earlier in the day, the incumbent Chief Minister Shirozile Lezitsu and his supporters failed to turn up in the Assembly to face a floor test. This led the Speaker to adjourn the House sine die. Lezitsu is facing a rebellion from his party MLAs, which prompted Governor Acharya to direct the Speaker to conduct a floor test. Lezitsu was facing rebellion by 43 ruling Naga People's Front MLAs in a 59-member assembly. Interestingly, T.R. Ziliang had resigned from the Chief Minister's post in February this year after party legislators withdrew their support over protests against local polls. Well, Pakistan today summoned Indian Deputy High Commissioner J.P. Singh over ceasefire violations along the LOC. 2 Pakistani civilians were killed and 6 others injured in alleged ceasefire firing by Indian troops in Barho and Tandar sectors yesterday. Director General for South Asia and SAARC Mohammad Faisal condemned the unprovoked ceasefire violations. News agency PTI quoted him as saying the deliberate targeting of civilians is indeed deplorable and contrary to human dignity and international human rights and humanitarian laws. I urge India to respect the 2003 ceasefire arrangement and investigate the incidents of ceasefire violations along the LOC. Ironically, Pakistan's response came on a day Indian troops claimed that Pakistani troops continued targeting several villages and Indian posts. Pakistan Army shelled areas with mortar bombs in the Poonch-Rajouri belt of Jammu and Kashmir. 1 civilian was injured. Yesterday, 2 Jawans were killed and 6 persons injured as Pakistan violated ceasefire 5 times and pounded several villages and forward posts with mortar bombs.
जवाबी कार्रवाई इस बार भारत की ओर से हो रही है, ये कई बरसों से नहीं देखने को मिली, चाहे वो सीमा के ऊपर है, चाहे सीमा के भीतर। सीमा के भीतर भी आतंकवादियों पर बहुत अधिक दबाव पड़ा हुआ है, घाटी के भीतर भी और दूसरे क्षेत्रों में भी। और इसका ये भी एक सुखद परिणाम है कि सेना बलों का, अर्धसेना बलों का मनोबल बड़े ऊंचे स्तर का है।
Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri officially started a new innings as captain and head coach of the Indian cricket team on Wednesday. Before leaving for the Sri Lanka tour as a unit, the two addressed a press conference in Mumbai. The two spoke about Shastri's appointment and confusion surrounding the naming of the support staff. Shastri in particular defended the choice of Bharat Arun as bowling coach, saying he had immense coaching experience.
There's a track record. 15 years his life has been coaching, right? And you look at that track record. It's outstanding. You know, right from junior level to A teams to Indian Junior World Cup teams, he's been part of. He knows these boys better than I do.
This is Ravi Shastri's second innings with the Indian team. He was team director from 2014 to 2016. The Indian team is coming from a successful series in the Caribbean and are confident going into the series against Lanka. The series in the island nation starts on July 26th.
जैसे कि मैंने बोला कि हम पहले साथ काम कर चुके हैं, तो हमें पता है कि what's expected, what's going to be on the plate, और जो पहले हमारे लिए काम किया है, तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि उस चीज़ में एफर्ट लगेगा समझने में, क्योंकि जैसे मैंने बोला कि पहले काम कर चुके हैं साथ में.
The team has done exceedingly well over 3 years. And there are the people who deserve the credit more than anybody else. These Ravi Shastris, Anil Kumble's will come and go. Okay? The fabric of Indian cricket will remain, and the credit should go to everyone who's participated in this Indian team.
Well, that's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.